Hi everyone, as you'll see from the video, this is a haircut later and quite a long time since I actually recorded the video. Göran is an excellent guest. It's my first in-person podcast that I'm publishing, so excited for that. Wanted to mention one quick thing before we get started. Since recording, Göran has become a father of 2 young girls, so congratulations to you and to Aylin. Extremely happy for you and wishing you all the best for the future there. As you'll see from the conversation, we get into all sorts of things around coaching, around philosophy, around philosophy of winning, around competition. I think he makes some really interesting points about habit and he's been running every day. So yeah, check out his YouTube channel as well. Make sure you subscribe, but hopefully you'll enjoy this conversation with him. One quick mention before I carry on, Mental Fitness Mondays. It's a project I've been working on. It's now done 4 weeks and going to do another 4 weeks up till Christmas time. Monday evenings, just 30-minute slot, 9 p.m. Central European time, 8 p.m. in the UK. I'm live streaming with my friend Rory Berry on my YouTube channel, but also on LinkedIn and Facebook. We're taking on mental fitness and having conversations around that, different topics each week. So next week's play, for example. Last week was humanity and nature. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that and join in. You can come and join in live in the conversation as well even. Anyway, let's get into the conversation with Göran. Thanks. Hi, you're listening to Wimbledon, hosted by me, Nick Ray. Hi there everyone, welcome back to the podcast. I'm very excited today. I'm always very excited when I start my podcast, but I am particularly excited today because look, physical person in the podcast, not a recorded online video. So I'm very happy to have Göran Winblad. Sorry, I'm Winblad. I'm not sure.
Winblad, but it's fine either way.
There we go. He is Swedish, so I was trying to get his name correct on the pronunciation. We're actually in his ground now. His orienteering orienteering club Moss, which is a place here in Norway, and he's kindly allowed me to come and run with him through some swamps. So we've just been for a run. So I've got very wet feet right now. Thank you, Göran, for that. And we've got a little bit of footage I'll splice in somewhere along the way. So hopefully for those of you watching this podcast on YouTube can enjoy that. So Göran is a YouTuber, and that's how I found him, but he's also many other things. And Göran, to start with, I'm going to throw it over to you to introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about your history and how you got to be here in Moss.
Yeah, so I try to keep it short, but as you say, I'm a Swedish guy. I'm 29 years old, and I live here in Moss in Norway. And I really love to be out running in the forest, just like we did earlier today. And yeah, a lot of my life has been surrounded around the sport of orienteering. Maybe we'll get into what that is later for those who don't know.
Yeah, maybe there'll be people who don't know. Yeah.
So yeah, like my younger years and like my years as a young adult, a lot was about trying to get to become an as good orienteering runner as possible. And but nowadays, like my elite career has been over, but I still train a lot and love to be active in the outdoors. And as a profession nowadays, I do a couple of different things. I work through my own company since a couple of years back, where I've done different things. But what I do most of right now is that I'm like a freelance filmmaker or videographer and makes videos and films for brands, mostly like in the outdoor and the sports field. But my education background is that I'm a physiotherapist, so I've been also working quite a lot the last couple of years with the Swedish national orienteering team as a physio and health coach there. And then, as you say, I also have a YouTube channel, so when I have a spare day off, I put a lot of effort into my YouTube channel, where I basically share some of my adventures and really want to inspire as many people as possible to an active lifestyle. And when I'm not doing that, I'm here in this location right now. We're actually in the clubhouse, as you said, for the club that I'm a head coach for, where I coach some youngsters and juniors who want to become really good orienteering runners. So Yeah, I do a lot of different things.
Yeah, so there's quite a lot to get into.
It's always a bit weird when new people ask me what I do, and I need to start, okay, I do this, and then I do this, and then I do a little bit.
I do a few different things, yeah. No, but that's awesome. And if you don't mind, I'm going to take some notes whilst we go. So
yeah, no problem.
hopefully that's not super weird. No, so I guess you're right. Maybe people don't know what orienteering is. So why don't you explain a little bit about what orienteering is first and foremost?
Yeah, so to put it in simple terms, it's basically just running through the forest with a compass and map, and then you have to find your way to the finish line, and on the way you have to find what we call control points, which is basically checkpoints on the way. So you need to run really fast and be good at navigating with a map and a compass in the same time. So it's it's an endurance running sport, but you also need to use your head quite a lot out there in the forest.
It's a lot of fun to sort of see people doing orienteering, because they like a normal run, you watch, like marathon, whatever, everyone's running in the same direction, kind of, along a path or whatever.
Yeah.
When you're watching people doing orienteering, they're running like across each other, across fields and scrambling up hills and stuff to try and find the next checkpoint.
Yeah, as orienteering runners, we often run on places where no one else would run. I think when me and Nick went on a run there earlier today, you got to see some places I don't think you would have ran on otherwise.
No, Göran turns around to me and goes, I hope you don't mind getting your feet wet, as we stood in a swamp. I was like, no, not really, not anymore. No, I really didn't mind. It was a lot of fun. Yep. So and you said that there's a race coming up actually that's dedicated to the swamp area or something. So you guys are really making it nice for yourselves.
It's
cool. So in terms of then competitive life, you've obviously competed yourself, and you've also been a coach, as you said, and a physio. So I guess you have a lot of insights into the competitive world. What's your philosophy around winning? What do you? Because running is a very personal sport, very individual. We even talked about it on a run. It's very much about you against yourself. So then, in terms of winning or at least achieving your dream or achieving great things, what's your sort of philosophy around that?
I think it has changed quite a lot over the years, because as I said, I was really serious and into the sport of orienteering, and I for sure wanted to become a world champion and put a lot of years and hard effort into training and trying to become as good as possible. And back then, it was like the number before your name in the result list that was determined if you were winning or not, for sure. And if it was a way too big number there, I knew that I wasn't winning. But since the last couple of years I've been competing less and focused on different areas in life, I for sure feel like winning is not only about being number one. I mean, we all start from different starting points, and what I've learned from working with some of the best athletes in the world is that if you want to become the best in something, then you gotta be hardcore focused on only that thing, and put all your effort and do a lot of sacrifices on other areas in life. And for me, I have had a bit too many interests, and I wanted to become a physio on the studying to that at the same time as I was trying to compete at a high level. And of course, if you want to get the best results, you need to focus on one thing. But for me, as my personality, I don't think it fits to just focus on one thing all the time. So I guess for me, winning is more of waking up every day and do something that you feel is important, and that you do your every day do your very best, and just also do something that are not only good for yourself and good for other people. That at least I feel like I have won a day when I have gotten to help other people in a good way, and that's why I love coaching and especially working with the young kids and juniors, and try to be a good influence in their life. And then so
it kind of gives you a sense of purpose, I suppose. And I mean, what I'm hearing is a sense of purpose for you and achieving that purpose is winning. Which I think is awesome. Actually, I love that. that philosophy, I suppose, if you call it that. And I understand. I mean, I can tell. So I was telling Göran before when we met and when we were running. So it feels very strange because I binged watched your videos and obviously I know a lot about you, but you know very little about me because you're on the internet and you're, you know, obviously at least the personality you put out on the internet, which I'm feeling is very similar to how you are. You become, as a watcher, or an audience, you become quite connected, or you feel quite connected to the person. So I feel like I know you quite well. But one or two things I've noticed within that is you're obviously very competitive or have a competitive streak, whether or not that's, you know, you've reframed your competitive nature around the number versus the challenge. But the YouTube videos you put out there, you've done some incredible challenges for yourself, like the 100-kilometer ultra marathon race up and down mountains in Norway, but also you're running up ski hills and trying to get, you know, the best time you can. You're doing, you know, under 9 minute 3 kilometers, which is crazy for someone like me to imagine. But so what would you say about that sort of that competitive nature? How have you found it best to adapt that to your day-to-day life, and also as you exited hardcore competition and sort of got a job as a physio, got a job as a coach, and, you know, had to stop having a number before your name for everything? How did you adapt to that, and how do you think that plays a part in your life now?
I for sure, as you say, have a very like competitive person that started from my early age. I wanted to compete in everything, and I've been like competing in sports since I was very little, and it's really in my nature to want to compete. But as you said, I tried to adapt it to the things I do now, and it is for sure a challenge. For example, when you're working as a physio, before I was working at a physiotherapy clinic, it's very hard to know if you're winning or not, because basically if you treat the patient once and they go home and they are healthy and they have no problems anymore, that for sure feels like winning in a way, but you never know if they would have been injury free if they hadn't gone to you either. So you never get that. That's what I really love about sports, that you really get the direct feedback. Okay, today you didn't win, today you did bad, or today you did really good, today you won. So, and also like in my like filmmaking, it's nice when I get a lot of like positive feedback on something I've done, but it's just subjective. Like you don't get that black and white answer. But as I said, like I try to adapt it. Like if I do my very best, I know that I can go to sleep happy, and that's really important for me to always take everything I do really serious and try to really bring my A game and do my best in everything I do. And but for sure it's a struggle sometimes when I don't know if I'm doing good or not.
The metrics, I suppose. Actually, I maybe some of your YouTube audience might be watching or listening to this at some point, and if that's the case, I'm sure they'd be interested to know is like, how do you make yourself targets on knowing whether you've done a good job or not? Because you've had some great success this last year. I think you've gained 20,000 subscribers or something amazing, you know, which is incredible, and congratulations. But obviously you can see it's a lot of hard work involved in that and a lot of time. But obviously just the subscriber number, that's one metric. But do you set yourself targets or anything, or because the other danger is, of course, you get too hung up on the numbers and then it can affect you negatively if it doesn't perform the way you expect. So how do you do that with YouTube? How do you navigate that landscape?
I have for sure set some targets. Like for this year, I had a goal to get over 20,000 subscribers. So I set those kind of goals, but it's quite hard with YouTube because there are so many different factors that play in. And for sure, I know that I could make some videos that would gain more views, but it's not like my only goal with YouTube is not to get as many views as possible, because it's really like a creative outlet for me where I want to share the kind of videos that I want to do, especially now when I work a lot with different clients where that's really fun as well. But then there are someone who tells me you need to do this, and on my YouTube channel I can do exactly what I want, and like like the metrics, as you say, like of course it's nice when I get more subscribers and views, because that hopefully at least in the future means that I can earn a little bit of money from it, and put more time into it. But the main like driver and the motivation for those YouTube videos is to inspire many people, and it's so cool that you online can reach so many videos. And some of the comments I get where people get inspired, and I even got in comments like people who said they started training or running just because they saw one of my videos, and just like one of those comments is enough for keeping me motivated for a long time to put in the effort to make those videos, because that really feels meaningful for me in a good way.
I totally understand that. Funnily enough, I mean, obviously, this is tiny. This podcast, this is my reach, my presence online is tiny comparatively, absolutely tiny. But I had the same attitude. I was like, if one person is inspired by it, then I've won. Because for me, it's been really interesting to meet all these different people that I've been talking to, and I'm learning from this experience. But also, there have been one or two people who've reached out and said, there's one or two people who've sort of said, oh, you know, I really found, I know Martin Frolander, the guy you talked about, one person commented on that and said, you know, actually saw better ways that they could be a father. And I thought, well, that's fantastic, you know. So I managed to connect that part of the world together, and that felt great. So I totally get that. And of course, I've seen your comments, and you have a lot of people you're inspiring, including me. I mean, I think the first video I think I mainly saw you in was this 100 kilometers Strander, is that my saying right? Strander ultra marathon, and I mean, you're quite fortunate having Norway's epic landscape to play with as well.
It's sort of cheating being a videographer in this landscape. You just have to hold up your camera, and then you get those beauty shots everywhere. So.
Well, any Norwegians listening are going to love hearing that, but because they of course all take it very personally that their country is theirs, so so they're very proud of it. But no, it is epic. And for those that are listening or watching or whatever, definitely check out Göran's YouTube and subscribe and check out those videos, because you've got some incredible footage out there. But what's been the sort of toughest part of the journey for you? And I guess in terms of like either YouTube or switching from being a physio and going into videography, what's like, it must have been challenging. So what have been some of the tough parts for you?
For sure, everyone has a lot of tough parts of their life that they need to go through, and for sure, like the transition for me, like being a really competitive elite orienteer to finding other like passions in life was because it was pretty difficult, because you identify so much of being like an athlete, and then you find yourself, okay, what am I if I'm not an athlete anymore? And I've actually made a video about this when I made a video about when I started to run every morning. And the reason why I started that was that I was going through a pretty tough time where I got some problems with my heart, and the doctors found that I have a heart condition that I was born with. And for a while, like it sounded from doctors, and I thought that, okay, I will never be able to get my heart rate up again. I will never be able to like push myself hard physically. And that was like, okay, this has been my whole life. This is what I've been doing for my whole life. And and I realized how important it is for me to not only be racing, but like the training and the process and doing that every day. So facing that was really tough, and now I'm really lucky that I'm allowed to train normal again and push my body hard, at least for now. And but that's like when you go through those parts of life where you have to redefine what you are, is quite tough. But I guess it's really important to try to find to know who you are, and not like just focus on what we are doing.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting. I'm just reflecting back on a conversation I had. So I managed to interview a gold medalist from the Olympics. It's the captain of the American swimming team, actually, Christina Teuscher. And she was talking about, I'm not sure if she talked about it on the podcast actually, but maybe we talked about it afterwards. But she was talking about the fact that, you know, a lot of young people, kids and things, are pushed into, especially swimming, because she coaches as well, and she sees parents pushing their kids into swimming, and kind of becomes what they love, and then it's like this pathway that the parents just want them to be on, this pathway to sort of super success. I'm definitely not saying your parents did that at all, but then your person becomes your you know, your being, your whole purpose becomes around this, and it defines who you are. And if for whatever reason you then have to step out of that, I think she mentioned about how difficult it is to find that other sense of purpose and that other sense of being and understand who you are. I think it happens to a lot of people, not just in a competitive setting. Like as you grow older, you begin to realize, what are my priorities? You know, like they change, they shift. Relationships you thought were absolutely golden and going to be here forever, they don't work, and then, you know, or friendships, they change, and that's really tough. So it's an interesting point. But I guess with medical stuff, it's so it's so tough, because you're like, you can't control the medical side of it and things. But I guess, I mean, it must be that, because I've seen some of the challenges you've done, and your heart rate must have gone through the ceiling on some of those things with the hill climb and stuff. So I guess you're healthy now, and I have it under control.
I'm healthy. It's like I have this condition that I was born with, and it will not go away. And most of the people who have this thing that I have to do surgery when they get older. But I do like checkups, and the doctors at least don't think that pushing my heart in a challenging way won't make it worse. And what I really struggled with was that I got a lot of like extra beats. So it was like 24/7. It was like getting these extra beats, but that has completely stopped since a year ago. So now I'm feeling very healthy, and I'm so grateful now that I get to run, and I think like going through that period really I really found back to the love that I had when I was younger of training and running and racing, because when you're in that like competitive bubble and just want to see result, like it's easy to forget why you're doing it, that you actually do it because you enjoy it and not just because you want to get a really good result. So since I've been able to start training again, I'm so grateful every time I get to push my body and get to experience that feeling again.
So I'm going to ask you a question which I have a sense of the answer already, but I'm interested to know your answer specifically, and I'm sure a few of the people who've got this far in the podcast will be probably keen runners, or at least interested in running. I'm interested to know, for you said about that feeling when you're running and that sense. What is that? Like, how can you define that? What does it give you sort of specifically that you think is special? I have a feeling I understand a bit about it, but I have my version. So
it's this thing runners called runner's high. I mean, but what was interesting that I get what you're going after, like the feeling of like running, especially in nature. It's you feel high on life, and like the run we was on earlier, it's especially if you do it with another person, like the conversations you have when you run, and like you get all those endorphins, and it's just an amazing feeling. But what people don't talk about so much is that it's for sure not every run that's great. I mean, to be able to experience those runs where you really get those nice feelings and really enjoy yourself, you need to do a lot of runs where it's just not that fun. It's the truth. But even like those days when you go out, you don't want to go out and run, but you still go out, and it's okay, but you just want to basically to get back home. But those days you still feel a lot better afterwards, and you get so much more energy through the day, and you get all these like other benefits. So even those days when it's not like a great experience to run, it's still like always worth it.
You're such a positive guy, and I it's got me giggling inside, because I remember watching one of your videos where you're like, you're basically obviously in a bad mood because it's raining outside and you don't really want to go running, and you run every day, right? And pretty much, you run every day. So and you've caught it on video, but you've kind of kept this upbeat nature about you. But it's very clear from like, oh, I'll go and get my running jacket then, I guess, because it's raining. And then in the run, you're filming yourself and you're saying like, wow, it's so great. Once you get out in the rain, it's always so nice to run. And I'm like, I can just feel that feeling when you had to walk out the door.
Yeah. I'm actually, while we're recording this, I'm working on a new video for my YouTube channel where I will talk about that, like the challenge of just walking over the threshold out the door and getting out there, because it's so strange how our minds work. Like all of us know that as soon as you go out, it, like even if it's raining, when you have ran for 1 or 2 minutes, you're already warm and it's already feeling pretty good, and afterwards you will feel great. We know this,
Yeah.
but still it's so damn hard to walk out that door. So it's, I think it's important to find like strategies to motivate you to still go out there those days when it's not so tempting to go out there.
So one of your strategies is obviously you set yourself a challenge of running every day, right? And that was every day for a year, but then it's continued. So can you talk me through what happened there? Because I think habits is really interesting part of that, and plays a huge part in getting yourself out that door.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, that was like after I had these problems with my heart and it was starting to feel better, but I still, at that point, I didn't know if I was going to be allowed to compete or push myself in a like way I was used to do, like run really hard. So then I thought, okay, at least it can't be dangerous for me to go out for a short run of just a couple of kilometers. So then I thought, okay, I will at least try to do this every morning directly when I wake up, just have a glass of water and then go out for a short run. That way, even though I sit the rest of the day at the computer working, I will at least like still feel like I'm still sort of an athlete, and it's still like a part of my personality that I go out and move. And also, like this running early in the morning before going to school or work, I actually started with when I was 13 or 14 years old, because I had an older clubmate in my orienteering club in Sweden where I grew up who made a training program for me, and then it was like going up early before school and going for a 40-minute run. So I started that, and I remember the feeling like the first time I did that. It was of course hard to set the alarm clock and go up and go out. But then, like when I got back home and took my bike to school, and then when I went to school, I like saw all these tired students arriving to this school, and I felt like, okay, I've already been out running for 6 kilometers today, and I felt like on the top of the world. And I remember like how much more energy I had, and ever since then I have had it like a habit from now and then. And when I was training really seriously, I had incorporated it into my training to start the days with run, but I never had it like I do it every single day. But then I thought, okay, maybe try this for a year and like really make it a habit to like start every day with a run, because it's always difficult when you wake up in the bed and think, oh, okay, I'm just going to get my running clothes and go directly out there. But as soon as you decide that you okay, I'm doing this every day, and just after a month or so, it was such a natural thing. So now I've been doing it for soon 2 years, and it's
every day.
Yeah, so now it's nothing I don't even think about it.
Sorry, my Garmin. This is so stupid. This is such a running thing. My Garmin's telling me you haven't saved the run.
We need it wasn't saying
auto save.
You need to move at least.
yeah, get moving. Yeah. So, but 2 years, you say you've been every day.
Yeah, this when this year is over, it will be 2 years.
That's amazing.
And most days I run twice a day. So
yeah. Okay.
So but with that said, like those morning runs, often they're like not longer than 20 minutes. It's just like a nice way to start the day, and then I do like more proper training in the afternoon, go for a longer run.
But I can relate to, I mean, I've been trying to do a thing, just skipping, hop a tower, and but that's just 5 minutes, and maybe I felt like at the beginning of the year I was like, what can I do? Like, what can I really achieve? You know, like realistically, time-wise, I'm like, if I can't get outside for 5 minutes to skip, then there's something sad going on. And I haven't managed to do it every day because of, as I mentioned to you, my heel injury. But it feels great to have that habit. And after a while, it just becomes, oh, well, this is what I'm doing now. Yeah. Like, and it's sort of, that adds to the, like you said, stepping over that threshold adds to the, well, that's kind of, it's what I have to do because I've set myself this target.
Yeah, because you make it a lot easier for yourself. You don't have to like have that like like inner conversation with yourself where you ask yourself, oh, maybe I should jump ropes today, and then you think, oh no, but it's pretty nice here in the sofa. But if you already have decided I'm doing this every single day, then you make it a lot easier for yourself. Like especially when I start every day with a run. When you lay in the bed, to have that conversation every morning, should I go up and run? Maybe not. It's much easier now when I know I'm doing it. It's not an idea to start debating with yourself, like pros and cons. Okay, I'm doing this.
I think having the time in the day as well, like the specific time when you do it, like you said, morning.
Yeah.
I think that's important as well, because with my skipping, that's one thing I would change if I got to rewind back to January 1st, because I have twice had to literally get out of bed in the night because I realized just as I was about to fall asleep, I didn't skip today. And so I've literally gone out. I've got out of my pajamas, put some shorts on, walked outside and skipped for 5 minutes, walked back inside with a big heart rate and lay down on the bed and tried to go to sleep. So,
maybe not recommended.
It sucked. And now I'm towards the end of the year and I've missed a few days because of heel injury and things. I realized that I probably could have just missed a day and no one would have cared. But but I think the key thing is habit, and I think it's an interesting thing as well when it comes to, I can tell by the way you manage at least your YouTube videos and things, you clearly have got into a habit of setting yourself up for you plan the videos obviously, and you work very hard at making sure they're the right visuals and sound effects and things like that, which probably go unnoticed by most, but are really key parts to making it a great experience for the viewer. So the effort and time you put into that is obviously, I would guess, is habit as well. Is you trying to set ways in which you do that, or?
Yeah, with the YouTube channel, it's a bit hard because I have all these other jobs that I was talking about that I have to prioritize because that's what pays the bills. So now I basically have to fit it in when I have time. But of course I've made it an habit. Like if I have a day free, I know that okay, this is what I'm working on, and have a plan for what I'm going to do that. But I think it's really interesting what you're saying with that, having a habit and really decide, okay, when are you going to do it, for how long are you going to do it, and make all those things clear for yourself, because it's a lot easier if you would have known that, okay, every day at 6 o'clock in the evening, then I do the training, or then it becomes a lot easier that way.
Yeah, if you set yourself, it's also one of the great things with running is if you've got a buddy to run with, then it's much easier. If you know someone's going to be waiting outside your door at 6 in the morning, then for sure you're getting out of bed to go meet them, because you're a bit of an asshole if you don't. Okay, so what I wanted to sort of ask you a bit about was your influences as well. So who, whether it's running, whether it's videography, whether it's life generally, who would you say your biggest influences are, or who do you sort of look up to and follow and want to emulate?
Of course, for life I had many different idols and people I look up to, but one of the first and maybe biggest idol I had was Thierry Chouchou. You probably don't know
no,
idea who that is.
Thierry Chouchou.
It's a really difficult name. Thierry Chouchou. It's French. And but if there are any orienteering runners watching, you for sure know who he is, because he's the greatest male orienteering runner ever, basically. I don't know if he has 15 world championships gold or something like that. But he was the best orienteering runner when I was younger, and he had a web page where he wrote about his training and philosophy, and I was really inspired by his journey. It was really cool. He was coming from France, and before him, France had never won any gold medals in orienteering running. I mean, it's basically the Nordic countries, and Switzerland is also good in orienteering racing, but he really did everything it took to become the best, and his work ethics and the way he approached things. So he has for sure been a big inspiration, especially when I was hardcore into orienteering. And what's pretty cool is that the last years I've been able to work a lot with him. because
Oh, wow, cool.
when he stopped his career, he started to work as a coach for the Swedish orienteering national team. And I was a part of the like coaching team there as a physio and health coach. So I've been working quite closely with him like for the last couple of years. So yeah, that was really cool that I got to see his like work mentality on close hand, and I've never seen a guy who works harder in my life, and that like it's cool that hard work pays off.
Yeah.
So he's for sure been a influence. And then when it comes to filmmaking, we were talking earlier about a guy who's called or his name is Casey Neistat. He's a famous YouTuber. Probably most people who are into YouTube at least knows who he is.
Probably.
And like his way of like telling stories and making films is just it's just incredible how he can make these like pretty often like mundane things in life into great stories that are really inspirational and makes you like motivated for life in general. So when I started doing YouTube myself and started getting more into filmmaking 5 or 6 years ago, he was for sure a big influence. And then so those are at least two people who I've been really inspired from.
So obviously I do know Casey. Well, I don't know him, but I know about Casey Neistat, and I think it's I've been interested to follow him as well, because he, in terms of habit, he did a vlog for like I think it was 500 and something days in a row, like, and there were such high quality videos every single day. Yeah. But I don't know if you've sort of listened to any of the things he's done recently. Like he's been on a few podcasts and things and talked about actually that time. And the strain it put on his relationships and things, because he was up, everything in his life was about getting the shot, getting the moment, and it was what can he contribute to the story of his video blog for that day. And he was up in the middle of the night editing it. So.
It's the way he worked when he worked with those daily vlogs is for sure not healthy for anyone. And I mean, and that's like a struggle and a balance, I think, for everyone that are like an ambitious person, that to find the like balance that you want to achieve good things and want to put in a lot of work, but don't like sacrifice what's really important in life, like your relationships and your family and all those stuff. So yeah, that's for sure a challenge and a struggle, and that's like also like has been sort of a shift for me like the last couple of years, that as I said, I've looked up to these people that are basically workaholics, but for sure like nowadays I at least try to have like other priorities in life. If like spending time with my wife will a bit more, and putting time into that relationship will make it so I don't release an extra YouTube video. I'm for sure ready to prioritize that, and that is that's a challenge for sure. And then this last year I've been on the edge of working too much, and that's always a struggle.
Yeah, finding balance is I like what you said there. Finding balance, it is really, really tough. I think, again, what I know about you, I said it feels a bit like I'm a stalker because I know so much about you from your YouTube videos. But Aileen, your wife, features in some of your videos.
Yeah.
She actually she did an ultra marathon as well, which is a very popular video you released. So hi to Aileen if you're listening to this. But she's obviously a kind of rock in your life, and you guys have a very sweet relationship, I'd say. You've shared your honeymoon video, which I said felt weird to watch because it's so personal, and you guys are traveling around Norway in coronavirus times, having your honeymoon, which was so sweet, in losing stuff in rivers the whole time, which I thought was hilarious. I was giggling to myself. But yeah, I think having a good rock, a good base, whether it's a person or something to go back to that grounds you, is super important there. I don't know if that's fair of me to reference Aileen in that way, but it certainly feels like you
for sure
have that like strong relationship, and she clearly supports you in your videos because she's been interviewed a few times and brought in for opinions, and
for sure
she's your go-to.
Yeah, for sure she's my best friend, and also she helps me out a lot with everything, and she's like always the first person if I have created a video, even if it's for my YouTube channel or a client I'm working with. She's the first person I show it for, and she often comes with very very good feedback. So, and to be honest, like I would for sure, without her, I would for sure not live in Moss, because she's from here, and that's a big part where we live here. But I don't think that I would have dared to quit my job and start working for myself if she wasn't like supporting me all the way. I mean, when I was trying to make more videos and doing more of that, 5 years ago or something like that, she was really supportive. Although my videos were complete crap, she's still supporting me, and was encouraging when she saw the passion in what I was doing. So I'm super grateful to have a person like that in my life, for sure.
I doubt they were complete crap, but I can see, you obviously as you get more experience, you get better. So I mean, that's where I'm at with podcasting as well. So
I mean, they were crap. I mean, if you want proof of that, you can ask. I haven't deleted any videos, so you can just go back to the videos for 5 years ago, and but I don't think it's not bad to make bad videos or I mean, it's part of the process. You can't be good when you start with things. So,
no.
It's an important lesson I learned, that you can't be afraid of not being the best. Then you will never be able to get good, because you will never be able to do it a lot, and that's how you get good at everything. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's a really good point, and it's an interesting experience for me at the moment. I've got a 6-year-old who wants to be the best at whatever she's doing at that moment in time, and I'm trying to instill this kind of attitude of practice is where you get but of course, it's all very well she's 6 and she thinks she's the best dancer, and that she does it once and she's got the best dance, and she's a singer and things as well, and of course I'm completely biased as a dad that she is amazing, but she probably could get better with a bit of practice.
But that's really when I'm working with coaching kids and juniors to that's my main thing, that I really try to teach them the process, that it's okay, especially in orienteering running. Everybody does mistake. Even the world champions do big mistakes and get lost in the forest, but that's how you learn. I mean, it's not it's okay it's okay to fail. And it's quite important, actually.
Well, okay, just a quick question there. I'm interested to know, how do you coach people orienteering when they're out? When they go out, do you run with them, or do you run with them? So you run with them.
So of course, if you have a group with 20 or 30 persons, you cannot run with everyone, because you have to. In orienteering, you run by yourself. You don't run in a group, because otherwise you can just follow the other guys. But what we do is, of course, you can both before they go out on their course, you can discuss with them, and then afterwards you can discuss with them and analyze. They explain where they went, and it's a lot of looking at the map and trying to analyze. But then also on trainings, we often have do short loops, and then I try on a training where I coach to follow as many people as possible. So I follow one person in one loop, and then we discuss a bit, and then I follow another one. So I try to, because it's one thing discussing with them afterwards, but if you're there with them in the forest and see how they react and respond when they get stressed, it's a lot easier to come with good feedback.
Yeah. Have you ever got lost with someone you're coaching?
You mean if I also lose control?
Because you're following them, right? Have you ever got to the point where you're like, oh, they're lost and I didn't keep track?
I always, of course, run with a map myself behind the athlete I'm coaching. So at least maybe I have done it sometime, but I can't remember that I've gotten really lost.
That would be kind of hilarious. I just got this image of you standing there going, oh, great, you lost track. I wasn't concentrating.
It hasn't happened yet, but for sure it will happen someday.
Knock on wood. Well, this seems amazing. This it's obviously a big club, because this is a lovely clubhouse and things. How many members does it have, and what's the?
I don't know how many members, but it's not a really big club. But on a good training, we are maybe 30 youngsters who are competing, and then in this club it was actually quite, orienteering has been big here in Moss, but it was quite dead for some years. But then there were some parents to the kids that are running in the junior classes now that did a really good job and built up a group around those kids. So right now we're quite many from the age of like 18 and down to 10 or even younger than that. But then there's like a gap from like 18 to 30, 35. There are no people running orienteering here, so it's like the parent generation and the kids.
So you get to crush everyone in your age group.
Oh, actually, like the best junior runner we have now, he's starting to run faster than me, and he's one of the best in his age group now, and he actually won like a European gold medal in the relay for Norway this year. So I'm starting to struggle to keep up with him on training. So that's good motivation for me to keep in shape. So I can still coach them in a good way and be able to follow them.
Wait, you missed that. Come back. To slow them down. Well, listen, I think we should wrap up, but I wanted to give you a chance to sort of put anything else out there. So is there stuff you wanted to promote? What do you want people to find you on? What are any last words of wisdom?
For sure. It's nice if you check up my YouTube channel if you want like running related content or like some inspiring videos. So can check out that. But otherwise, I want to say thank you for having me on the podcast. And then I actually have one question for you, if it's okay.
Oh, sure, yeah.
We were talking a bit when we were out running that you're a parent of 2 little girls.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, I've just met you today, but you seem like a really like ambitious person in everything you do. So I just wanted to I'm becoming a parent soon myself to 2 little girls myself. We're having twins in a month or so. So I wanted to ask you if, like, how do you look at, like, how do you find the balance to be a really, like, a good dad and be a really present father and still, like, have the high ambition in everything else you do? Like, I just want to hear a bit about your thoughts around that. It's interesting there.
Oh, I wasn't expecting the question, so I'm not used to people turning it back on me. Honestly, so the question is, how do I balance it? So talking about purpose, for me, the number one purpose in my life is being a present and good dad. Yeah. So it's quite simple. I know you shouldn't live through your children, and a lot of people say, make sure you keep your own life and things. But especially whilst they're young, for me, I get so much enjoyment out of the idea that whatever energy I'm putting into them is going to be something in the future. Yeah. Like hopefully it's all good energy, and hopefully it's good influence, and it ends up helping them live more fulfilled and purposeful lives. But so that for me, it's not really about balancing in terms of like, obviously I need to earn money, so I have a job which I need to do, and that's just life. You have to pay the bills and things, and I try to make sure I enjoy my job and get fulfillment there as well. So I don't just live through my kids. But in terms of balancing, I think I've noticed for sure, mental health wise, running or doing some form of exercise for me is very, very important. So prioritizing my own health is super important. But that's also because I know for my head it's important. Yeah, for sure. So I guess that's more where I try and find the balance. In terms of ambition and wanting to achieve things, I want to try and inspire my kids really, but also hopefully other people, but really my kids. I want to leave something behind. I'm not religious. I don't believe in afterlife and things, but I believe what you leave behind is the energy you've put in other people. So especially your kids, because they are with you a lot. And so you get a chance to put lots and lots of energy in them. And I feel that's where I prioritize my energy and how I guess finding balance is just making sure that is, I'm letting them be themselves. I'm letting them experience life themselves and not trying to do things for them, trying to make them a certain way. But I feel like that was a really crap answer. No, I'm not a very good podcast guest. I'm not practicing being a podcast guest. I'm practicing being a podcaster.
I think it was really, really interesting to hear you elaborate a bit about that, because I'm for sure facing a a new challenge in life.
Well, I didn't want to mention it because you told me before, but I wasn't sure if you wanted to mention it on the podcast or whatever. But congratulations, it's a very exciting time. I think you're going to make great parents, both of you. From what I know, obviously, Aileen seems amazing, and she seems extremely supportive of you. And I can see that you guys are very caring, loving people. So I'm sure they're going to be little athletic girls and running around in the mountains and things. And I'm hoping my two enjoy that as well. So I wish you all the best with fatherhood. It's an incredible journey, and I'm sure you're going to love it. So thanks you very much, Göran, for joining me. And please subscribe to Göran's YouTube channel. I'll put the links wherever down below, but you can find him. For those English speakers, it's Göran Winblad is how
impossible name.
Is how it would look for us people. Göran Winblad, is how you pronounce it. But yeah, check him out on YouTube. Go check out a bunch of his videos, like and comment and things. And actually, he ends up responding to a lot of comments. So you might even get to interact with him. And obviously, if you're in Norway or want to do remote coaching, he also does some coaching and stuff as well for running and things. But thank you so much, Göran. And take care, everyone. We'll see you in the next podcast.
Okay, thanks for watching. Congratulations again to Göran and Aileen for becoming parents since recording that. And please don't forget to check out Mental Fitness Mondays on Monday evenings if you have the time and the inclination. If you need more details, just hit me up. That's all good. All right, take care.